So, Lzzy, have you played Atlantic City before?
Yes, actually, many a times. I'm from Pennsylvania myself. Born in Philly, raised in more central Pennsylvania, kind of all over there. But yeah, so yeah, Atlantic City is very near and dear to my heart, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of crazy rock fans. I mean, really, everybody in that area is more or less kind of responsible for my obsession with 70s and 80s hard rock and metal. So it seems to be very much alive in Atlantic City. So.
And what about the hair? Is the hair alive too from that period, or not so much?
Oh, hell yeah! It's one of those things. I'm a child of the '90s, but my heart has always belonged to some elements of cheese metal. So, as a matter of fact, it's actually going to be a big moment because we're performing with Tom Kiefer from Cinderella, and that was like, in my teenage years, that's what I was listening to. You know, when all of my friends were listening to Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls, I was listening to Cinderella. So it's going to be a big moment, actually, for me.
You weren't a big Backstreet Boys fan at the time, then?
Yeah, I wasn't too into them. I had a lot of friends that were. I think that, again, I wish that I had been born just a generation earlier. I would have been a total Pat Bennett wannabe. Oh, sorry about that. I'm kind of in transit in a airport, right outside of an airport right now, so I apologize for the noise.
Yeah, so your role models were definitely it's not the music you were growing up with, but you're sort of reaching back to earlier time.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I don't know, for whatever reason I connected more with that, or I recognized heavy music with that generation, you know? And I don't know, I mean, I could even blame it on my parents. My parents were big rock fans, and, you know, like my first concert, apparently, according to my dad, my first concert that I ever attended was Cheap Trick when I was like 4. So, you could say, I guess I caught the bug early, and then had, you know, some supportive parents that when they, you know, realized it wasn't just a hobby or a summer thing, said, you know what, you're this obsessed, why don't you just go for it?
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, it definitely worked out, but, my feet are firmly rooted in rock and roll, I guess I could say.
Right, sure. And it's interesting because, you know, those older bands, there weren't too many women, certainly not fronting the bands the way you do, and even in the band. So how is it to sort of be, you know, like a woman in a rock band now? Does music business seem like a man's world? Do you think it's changed? What's your experience?
Well, you know, honestly, it's all what you make it. I've never taken being a girl in a band or fronting it as a girl as a negative thing. I like it a lot, actually.
Right.
Most times I stick out like a sore thumb. It's gotten to the point now where sometimes I do forget that I'm a girl. So, you know, I can't say the same jokes that apparently all of my crazy rock guys, you know, can say because it sounds different coming out of my mouth, but sometimes I forget that. So,
right.
You know, those jokes don't work at a Thanksgiving dinner table. Plus, life is not the same as normal life. But, yeah, it's one of those things. I definitely really like it, and I think that I've made it to a certain point or that I'm able to be an example or an inspiration to certain girls, and we get a lot of them now coming to our shows that are, you know, just these little girls that's like 14 years old that are starting lessons and starting bands, and so it's really cool to see. I think that we'll see more of that, you know, with whoever comes next. You know what I mean? I think that we're there. There's a handful of us, you know, huffing it out on the road, and I think that we're kind of more or less paving the way for a lot more to come. More little girls in rock coming up in the next generation.
And you're also it's also a little bit different because it's like a family thing. Your brother, you know, you're in the band with your brother. So that's sort of been for years, right? You've always sort of performed with him.
Oh, yeah.
And so that just kind of comes naturally to be.
I mean, basically, you started the band with my brother, so he's kind of been, whichever way you want to put it. He's either been stuck with me or I've been stuck with him, our whole lives. But truth be told, I mean, the reason that we were able to start, when I was, in middle school, I was 13 and he was 10 when we started Halestorm. But the reason we were able to start was because he's never actually sucked on the drums. And, and he was always able to keep a beat. So we were able to start early, and we would play, like, happy hour at bars because they were nervous, having us during normal hours. And we would, play coffee houses and Friendly's restaurant for free ice cream and the Ground Round and wherever we, could play cities, wherever they would let us play, and just never stopped. And I think between my brother and I, we've always been really close. We're the only siblings. But we are definitely polar opposites as far as personalities go. So I think it's the music keeps us together.
Is he a little more low key, or?
Absolutely not. That kid is a human tornado.
Okay.
Yeah, if you ever get to see him live, he's the exact same on stage as he is off stage. I'm actually the low key one, if you can imagine this. We say this a lot. He's kind of the Jerry Lewis to my Dean Martin at times. So we have a nice, friendly sibling rivalry that goes on stage. There's a point in time in the set where it doesn't matter, how short my skirt is, whether or not I'm a girl, whether or not I'm fronting a rock band. There will always be a moment in the show where everyone's trying to look past me to see what my crazy brother is doing back there. And it's gotten to the point where I'm actually glad that I don't have some kind of mirrored contraption to watch him while I'm playing, because I would just be cracking up the whole time. He's like the David Lee Roth of drumming.
The shows, just generally, it sounds like they're just pretty crazy, right? Pretty intense.
Yeah, it's a rock show. We don't use any tracks or trickery, so it can be unpredictable at times. And what you see is what you get. We kind of plug in and we play, but we have a great time. And no matter the length of the set, we're just really happy to be doing what we're doing, and we're very, between all four of us, we're a very stop and smell the roses type band. So the fact that we're still together and we're still doing what we love every day kind of blows our mind a little bit. So we just have a great time every night.
Are you working in any of the a few of the slower songs?
Definitely. It's a journey. Lately we've been doing kind of like a definite, rock block in the beginning of the set where it's kind of like, just kind of punishing up until a certain point. And then, we have a few songs that we'll do acoustic, and I do one song on the piano, and, just to kind of give everybody a breather and show a different side of what we can do. And then usually, I usually give my brother a drum solo, which is a definite moment in the set because we never know what the hell he's going to be doing. But yeah, we try to switch it up too, every couple shows, or we went through a couple tours where we were doing something different every night. And I guess our philosophy is that, if we're not having a great time and it's not, fun for us, and how's anyone else going to have fun? So maybe we arrange the set a little selfishly,
right?
So that it's a lot of fun for us.
Your songwriting has sort of evolved too, right?
I kind of just said fuck it on this record, and all of the things that I was a little maybe afraid to say, or maybe embarrassed to say, or maybe didn't feel fit with the whatever the rock and roll image was on the first record. Decided to just kind of let all of that go and write whatever I wanted to write, type of thing, and not worry about, whether, label is going to like it. Is it going to work for radio? Is this what people want to hear from me? Again, I guess in the same way of that we were talking about the set list being maybe a little selfish. Maybe I was a little selfish on this record too, and just kind of did a lot of these songs for me. Where it's interesting because then in turn, there are so many people that have picked up this latest record that, have written me physical letters about, the inspiration that's come from some of these songs. So it's really quite interesting that, when all of a sudden the you take the brain out of it for a second and you stop thinking so much about, about what you're doing and just do it. So, I think that was, that was definitely a goal. Well, I don't know whether it was an actual goal when we first started. I don't think we had any idea what we wanted to do when we first started making this last record. But I guess kind of fell into that,
What's your schedule like? You just came off a vacation, I think, right?
Well, kind of. It was more or less working vacation. We had some shows, but then we had, a couple days around these shows that, we went to Alaska and Hawaii for the first time. Each had its own show, but, had a couple days to just kind of do whatever. So it was the closest thing that we've had to a vacation in, probably a good, almost a decade. But the rest of this year, it's going to be pretty much constant touring. We're putting out another cover EP in the fall. And, let's see, got a few more continents to conquer. And right now we've begun writing for the next record, just so that we're prepared for whenever everyone says go. We need it now.
Thanks so much, Lzzy. It's great to talk to you. I really appreciate you calling in.
Oh, of course, Ellen. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me.